Hello, my name is Rhiannon McIsaac, and today I'm going to be discussing why the Supreme Court decision in the 2010 Citizens United versus the Federal Elections Committee case should be overruled. In 2017, the Trump administration passed the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act bill. The main supporter of this bill was a Republican representative from Wisconsin named Paul Ryan. The tax cut was aimed to lessen taxes paid by big corporations and individual taxpayers. The economic theory behind this bill being that those in charge of these large corporations would then use these extra funds to invest in their own companies, thus expanding and creating more middle-class jobs or increasing their workers' pay. Another supposed benefit being that individual taxpayers would then spend more, further bolstering the economy. Wealthier people in this country love this bill, really loved it. So much so that after this bill was passed, the Koch brothers, at the time worth $58.7 billion, gave Paul Ryan $500,000 in campaign contributions. Although there is no official evidence that there is any legal wrongdoing in the situation, it is not a stretch to say that this was in some way a reward. Because of his work, the Koch brothers were able to keep $1.2 billion to themselves instead of paying in taxes. They were able to give Paul Ryan this enormous sum due to the precedent set forth by cases like Citizens United versus the Federal Elections Commission. In 2009, the conservative nonprofit group Citizens United sued the Federal Elections Commission when it tried to stop the organization from airing a film that openly criticized the then presidential candidate Hillary Clinton. They did this because they knew that airing this film would be a violation against the 2002 Bipartisan Campaign Reform Act and nearly 100 years of legal precedent. The Bipartisan Campaign Reform Act stopped corporations and unions from paying for media that mentioned any candidate in time periods immediately preceding elections. Citizens United won 5-4. The court majority argued that political spending was a form of free speech and therefore protected underneath the First Amendment. They also argued that the public has the right to hear all available information and that spending limits prevent information from reaching the public. In the years since this new precedent was set, independent groups have spent billions on political campaigns and causes. By doing so, they have influenced important elections and court decisions. There's been a decrease in transparency in elections and political actions and an increase in inequality. There's also been an increase in foreign money in elections. Due to this new precedent, foreign actors are now able to secretly funnel money to elections through nonprofits or shell companies, which are companies that only exist to give money to campaigns. This is an issue for both political parties in the United States. Both Democrats and Republicans have taken very large donations from multiple super political action committees or super PACs. The American people need to work to reinstate the previous precedent set forth by laws such as the 2002 Bipartisan Campaign Reform Act. There are a few ways in which a Supreme Court decision can be overturned. Congress can issue congressional statutes to amend the court's ruling. They could vote to adopt an amendment, which would then be ratified by the American people, or the Supreme Court can be presented with a new case concerning a similar issue and set a new precedent. By reinstating this past precedent, we are taking a proactive step towards a corruption-free government. Our government is supposed to work on our behalf. The main concern of our elected officials needs to be the people they are elected to represent. Elected officials also have a moral responsibility to their constituents to work in their best interests. Precedents like Citizens United versus the FEC are only going to impair politicians' ability to serve their people in an altruistic manner. We should live in a society where our government works for all of the people, not the very wealthy people. While the middle class does benefit from tax cuts in the form of receiving larger returns, this amount is minuscule compared to the amount that the upper class receives. Besides this, our taxes are supposed to go towards benefiting the community by funding public works such as infrastructure, housing assistance, and Social Security. This type of behavior should not be allowed anywhere in the world, and definitely not in the United States. If we work to overrule this previous decision, the American people will be able to rest easy, knowing that their politicians are only working in their best interests. So what exactly can you or I do about it? Lobby your legislators. The next time a bill comes up in either the Senate or the House that concerns campaign contributions, pay attention to it. Figure out what this bill is about, decide if you agree or disagree, then find out who your representatives are and let them know how you feel as their constituent. What you think matters to them, especially if they want to get reelected. They want you to vote for them, they want you to tell your friends to vote for them. Bribes aside, their job is to represent their constituents, and if they lose favor, they will not win re-election. To conclude, in the words of Abraham Lincoln, the United States is supposed to be of the people, by the people, for the people, not of the billionaire, by the billionaire, for the billionaire. Thank you for listening.